So I've been thinking about this topic a lot lately, and you'll kind of hear why in today's video as I talk about the different products I've been using. But there are a lot of makeup products I love that come in packaging that I hate for one reason or another. And for me, I'm not always super big on really expensive, luxurious, high quality packaging. If a makeup product is, $5, I don't expect it to come in like $75 packaging by any means. Products don't always have to feel super weighted or luxurious or be like dripping in gold or anything like that. But there are just little things that I feel like can be improved upon to make the packaging just slightly better. So in today's video, I wanted to share some makeup products that in general, I love these products so much, but there's just one or two things about the packaging that I don't like. I did a video like this last year. If you guys want to check it out, I think I have all new products to talk about in today's video. But if you want to see a video on makeup packaging I love, let me know because I feel like that would be fun to film too. So I have to say, across the board, one thing that I hate when it comes to packaging is just overly large or bulky packaging, unnecessarily large. And I think over the years, brands have kind of slimmed down their packaging. They're not necessarily creating palettes that like fold open and have this pop-up display, or I know Benefit used to do their box powder blushes that were a lot bigger, and I'm pretty sure they recently relaunched them and they're a little bit thinner. So I think brands as a whole are doing just smaller packaging, and I feel like even for them, that has to make more sense. It has to be less expensive to create something thinner with less material. I just feel like large packaging is wasteful. It's hard to store. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to hold while you're using it. And if you're traveling, it takes up so much room in your travel makeup bag, which for me, we've been traveling more this year, and I feel like that's something I've really just come to notice. I definitely appreciate slimmer packaging. But one brand in my collection that does still create products with larger packaging would be Jaclyn Cosmetics. These highlighters are gorgeous. I mean, I can't deny it. I love the design. I think they're beautiful. They're weighted, so they feel a little bit nicer when you hold them. But this is such a large compact for a highlighter. When you open it up, the highlighter itself really isn't even that big, and I think it could come in, a similar design, just a lot thinner overall. On top of that, they have like these raised J's on them, so when you're kind of stacking them in a drawer, they don't even sit that nicely on top of each other. Again, it's beautiful. It's hard to deny that, but I just find that it's overly bulky, a little bit unnecessary. I used to have a blush bronzer duo from Jaclyn Cosmetics that came in black packaging, and that was even bigger because it was like two of these products combined. So every time I held it in my hand, I felt like I was holding an entire eyeshadow palette, and then I opened it up and it just had like a blush and a bronzer with a lot of wasted space around it. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Are you a fan of these like luxurious feeling type compacts, or would you prefer something a little bit thinner? I think you can still do a beautiful design, just a little bit smaller and more compact overall, but this is probably one of the only remaining really large bulky compacts that I have in my collection right now. Actually, speaking of large compacts, ColourPop also does really large compacts, but in a different way. Instead of being like the typical bulky compact, these are really, really thin, but they are so big. They're like twice the size of a regular compact, maybe even more than that, and it just feels unnecessarily large. I don't understand when it comes to ColourPop because they are able to do smaller products, and with every collection, it seems like they change up their design. I personally prefer just a smaller, more compact product in cardboard packaging, and they've done that in the past, and those work just as great as these, but these are so large, so unnecessarily big. There's a lot of wasted space, a lot of wasted plastic, and they come with such a giant mirror, which it is convenient to have a large mirror when you're traveling, but when they do this with so many of their products, you end up with quite a few of these if you're buying their products consistently. I've really stopped purchasing products that come in this type of packaging because not only is it just unnecessarily big, it's a little bit difficult to open. And some are a little bit easier than others, but I find that typically the products that come in this compact packaging are just a little more difficult to use and hold and open. And I don't know if that's the case for everyone across the board, but I've heard that from some of you guys too. I wish they would just stick with like the smaller size compact and cardboard packaging. That makes so much more sense to me. And they do a lot of their Super Shock products in this packaging as well, but I just prefer the original packaging that comes with like the twist off lid. It's smaller, more compact, and I find that it keeps the product better because the twist off lid can really be tightened. So again, not quite as bulky as a really large square or round compact, but still unnecessarily large as a whole. While we are on the topic of ColourPop, I have to say these ColourPop Heart blushes are the cutest product I own. I absolutely love the design. I think it's fun that they're a heart shape. I also like that the color is on the outside, so as you're reaching for one in your collection, you know what you're going to get. And they have a little bit of a rubberized feel to them, so they're really cute overall, but they are so difficult to open. I remember doing a video, I think it was like an everyday makeup drawer video, and I was trying to open them to swatch them, and so many of you guys said that you can't get yours open either. One of you guys told me that I think you ended up like filing off the closure, so it was a little bit easier to open, and I need to try that with mine because I actually don't end up reaching for these very often because I can't get them open. I've been sitting here trying to open one of them, and I can't do it. I feel like every time I do it, I either break my nail or it just takes too long and I end up reaching for something else. So I don't know what it is about this product exactly. It's nice that it stays closed because if you're traveling, you don't want it to pop open, but it is so difficult to open that it almost makes the product unusable for me. And I don't know, well, I was going to say I don't know if it's just me, but I know it's not just me because I've gotten so many comments from you guys saying the same thing. So as cute as they are, they're just not very functional. Like I said, one thing I love about these is the fact that you know which color you're going to get when you pick it up. Because when it comes to a lot of compact products, especially cheek products in general, like highlighters, blushes, bronzers, you don't always know which shade it is until you actually open up the product. And I love when a brand just has some sort of indicator, whether it is like a clear cover or a sticker on the back, because when you purchase multiple shades from the same brand, it's basically impossible to know what you're going to get until you open it up. So I have 4 of these Hourglass blushes. I've had these for years. So at this point, when I flip it over and I read the name Ethereal Glow, I know that it's going to be a blush that has, you know, pink in it. Today I'm wearing Mood Exposure and I knew that I wanted that specific shade, so I knew to go into my collection and grab Mood Exposure. But if it's a brand that I'm not as familiar with, I won't always know what the color looks like based on the name. So flipping it over and reading the name isn't always helpful to me if it's something a little bit newer to me. If it's something I've had for years, it's fine, but I would still love to be able to know the color before I like dig in my collection, pick it up, flip it over, read the name, or what I end up doing is like opening every single one of the blushes until I find the color that I want, and that just takes extra time. It's not the end of the world by any means, but inevitably the shade that I want is always the last one that I end up grabbing and opening and reaching for. So I personally love when there's just some sort of indicator as to the shade, whether it's a sticker or a clear window, but I feel like a lot of brands, when it comes to their compact products, especially high-end brands, tend to skip that, or even lip products. Urban Decay redid their Vice lipsticks, I think last summer, so they redid the formula. They have some new finishes, and I love the actual formula, but I don't like the packaging. The old Vice lipsticks used to have a sticker on the bottom that would indicate which color it was, so when you flipped it over, you could see, oh, this is a nude, this is a red, this is a berry. Now they just have stickers that are the color of the actual packaging, and then it says Naked Cream. I know that Naked is a nude, but sometimes with a different shade, like the 405, I know this is a red because I love this color, but at first, before I was really familiar with it, I didn't know what shade that was. And for me, as I'm just kind of going through my collection and picking a shade to wear that day, I'm less likely to reach for something if I don't know which shade it is, especially if I'm in a hurry. The other issue with these lipsticks is the fact that the lid does not go on perfectly every single time. So if you look at this, there's like a little bit of a slant right here, and you have to make sure you're putting the lid on like that. Most of the time I go to stick it on and it just doesn't close very easily until I twist it the right way. I usually have to actually look at it to see, and I stick it on there. I don't know what was wrong with the original Vice lipstick design. It was a circular tube and the lid went on perfectly every single time. I think when brands try to do something a little bit more creative design-wise, it's fun to look at, but it's not necessarily as practical. I think the reason why it bothers me with these Urban Decay lipsticks and other products in general is because if you don't end up putting the lid on there perfectly every single time, you end up damaging the actual makeup product. And then there's like a big chunk of lipstick missing. It's on the lid. Every time you touch it, it's on your hands. And it's just those little things for me personally. And I'd rather just reach for like my $3 lipstick that I love, that works well, that actually closes easily every single time. So again, these are just like petty little things, but you know, when you're spending $20+ on a lipstick, I feel like there are little things that make a difference when you use it. So I've been a big fan of lip oils for probably about a year, and one complaint that I would read just randomly that I never personally experience would be just lip oils leaking, whether it was leaking all over a makeup bag or in a purse or in a pocket or wherever. And some of you guys have told me like certain brands have leaked for you, and I just never had that happen to me. But recently we went on a trip and I had one of my lip oils leak all over my makeup bag. So this is from Item Beauty. I love these so much. I love the shades, the formula, the colors, the scent. Like this really is one of my go-to products. But I don't know if I packed my makeup bag like haphazardly. I don't know if my luggage got thrown all over the place because a few of my products had issues. Like one of the powders broke, another mirror shattered, this lip oil was leaking all over the place. So I don't know if it was a one-time issue, but I have heard from people who say their lip oils leak. I didn't think that would be an issue with this one because it does have like a click closure that clips into place. So again, we'll see if that happens again, but I can understand that being a pet peeve because when a lip oil leaks, it's so thin that I feel like it spreads easily and gets all over everything. Thankfully, it didn't really ruin anything in my makeup bag. I feel like everything I was able to, or everything that it got on, I was able to wipe down and it was perfectly fine. But I can totally understand now if you've had that issue why you might be hesitant to try different lip oils based on the packaging. So again, I think this is just more of a generalized statement. I haven't had that issue with lip gloss, but I think because lip oils are so thin, it makes sense that they would kind of come out of the packaging a little bit easier. So if you guys have tried different lip oils, which formulas or which brands tend to leak on you? I think I've heard people say Profusion. I don't know that I've heard that about the Milani lip oils, but I did have that happen with the Item Beauty lip quips. I wouldn't let that discourage you from trying them though, because the formula really is so good. I think for me, I'll just probably end up storing them upright if at all possible. Another pet peeve for me when it comes to lip products in general is just a brush tip applicator. And I know some people love brush tip applicators. I recently tried this product from Essence. It's the Lip Care Booster Lip Serum. But I feel like when I have a brush tip applicator, I have to dip back into the product like 5 different times to apply enough product to my lips. I think ColourPop used to do lip glosses with brush tips as well, and I will say it's nice because you can clean them off a lot more easily than you can clean off like a doe foot applicator. So if you're wearing a lip gloss on top of a dramatic lipstick, you don't always want to stick the brush back into the lip gloss because it can change the color of it. So a brush tip applicator is nice for that reason. But I just prefer like a good doe foot, especially a bigger doe foot that covers a large area because it just makes everything really quick and easy, and a small brush tip just takes a lot of time. Speaking of doe foots, I definitely prefer for my concealers to have a doe foot, and I don't know that I've really tried a lot of concealers that don't have doe foot applicators other than concealers that come in the pot form. But this year I tried the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. And as much as I love this product, I wish it came in more typical concealer packaging with an actual doe foot that you could apply to the eyes, because every single time I use this, I get way too much product. I feel like it's really hard to get the exact amount of concealer you need out of this. It has a pump and you can squeeze out a really small amount. And honestly, a small amount of this product goes a super long way. But inevitably, I end up wasting product because I don't need to use all of it. Or if I do get out a small amount and I want to apply a little bit more, the second time I go to get some, it's too much. So I really do love this. I always end up blending it out with a brush anyway. So you know, the actual finger application doesn't make a lot of sense for me personally. I know some people love to use their fingers when it comes to concealer and foundation, but I just wish this came with a doe foot. I feel like it would make the entire process a lot easier. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like the fact that it doesn't have a doe foot? Are you able to get the right amount out every time? If you are, then I need your skills because I always pump out way too much. One thing I've noticed with concealers this year, and I've tried a lot of concealers this year, is that when they actually do have a wand or a doe foot applicator, the shape is either a little bit unique or it's just really small. Brands aren't doing like the Shape Tape style wand anymore. They're typically doing something a little smaller so you can get a really precise application, which I do like smaller wands for that purpose because you can get like right in your inner corner, right under your eyes, around your nose. But I almost feel like I have to dip back into the product multiple times, more than I would if I had a larger wand like the Tarte Shape Tape wand, which I haven't tried the Tarte Shape Tape in years. Every concealer that I've tried this year has had a really small, precise wand, like LYS, KVD, Say Beauty. I'm sure there have been other ones. And, you know, I can appreciate it because you can get a really targeted application, but I just feel like I always have to dip back in. And if the wand is really small and flexible, it's kind of hard to get it back in there really easily without feeling like you're going to snap it off. So I don't know, just something I've noticed about concealer lately. This is something that I might have mentioned in last year's video because this is a product that I love. It's something that I've repurchased every year for years and years, and it's something I go through regularly, and no matter what, every single time I have this in my collection, it breaks. Last time we flew and I had the issue with like my lip oil leaking, a mirror shattering, this compact also broke. Like the lid just completely broke off, and the powder also broke into my makeup bag as well. I just think the closure, or not the closure, like the hinge on this product is so cheap, and every single time it breaks on me. Listen, I don't expect miracles out of this product. It's like a $3 or $4 powder. The powder itself is so good. The packaging, the plastic packaging doesn't feel that cheap, but they have to do something about this hinge because it always breaks. In fact, we were just out of town last week again, and we didn't fly, we drove. So my makeup bag wasn't really getting jostled around or anything like that. But I think just after using this quite a bit last week because it was so hot out, like the only thing I wore was the Catrice concealer. Catrice? Yeah, the Catrice concealer and then powder. Like I had very minimal makeup going on, and I used this so much that I hit pan on it pretty soon after opening it. But the hinge on this one is already breaking, like it's completely cracked, and I haven't been hard on this. There are no scratches on it. The powder itself isn't shattered. It's just such a cheap hinge. For some reason, it always breaks on me. And I've heard that from you guys too. It's not all Essence products. I have some of their blushes. I've tried other products from them. It's just this specific powder that breaks every single time, even when I'm careful with it. So I love it. I'll continue to repurchase it because it's so inexpensive and so good at mattifying the skin. But the packaging is very, very cheap. I actually have another product from ColourPop that I should have mentioned earlier, but I love the design of these clear quads. I think they are so pretty. It's a little bit more minimalistic. You can see which shades you're going to get every single time you use it, which is helpful because they have launched quite a few of these, but inevitably, every single time I throw one of these in my makeup bag, which again, once you know that, you're kind of careful about which products you throw in makeup bags or set in makeup bags or bring with you when you travel. But I used to travel with these, and every single time I did, they ended up breaking on me. Not the packaging, the shimmer shadows inside. So I think it's a combination of the way these are packaged and the formula of the shimmer shadows. For some reason, the shimmers in here, and actually all of the shadows in general, are very, very soft, really powdery. They're not as firmly pressed as ColourPop shadows in like their cardboard packaging. So I don't know if it's because of the pan, the packaging, whatever the reason, they're really easy to work with because they're so soft and blendable, but they break really easily too. So they're very, very fragile. It sucks because these quads are so perfect for travel, or you would think they would be ideal for that because you get 4 shadows that go really nicely together. So when I've gone out of town in the past, these have been perfect because I knew that I would get like an easy neutral eye or an easy smoky eye every time. But they're just like, this is even breaking, just shaking it around. So these have to stay at home. That's like pretty much the only place I can use them, which again, I love the fact that they're a little bit more minimal. There are only 4 shadows, but they just break so easily. I'm definitely a liquid eyeliner fan. I wear liquid eyeliner quite a bit, and these days I do skip it more than I used to just because, again, it takes a while, and you know, when I'm on the go and I don't have a lot of time, eyeliner usually is one of the first things to go. I'd rather do mascara over eyeliner any day. My order typically is like, order of importance is mascara, eyeliner, then eyeshadow. But I do love all 3. But anyway, because I've tried so many eyeliners over the years, one thing I know that I just don't like would be really large, chunky eyeliner tips. I recently tried this formula from Essence. The actual formula isn't very good, but I wanted to give it a shot because I hadn't tried a larger eyeliner in a while, and after trying this one, I can safely say I'm still a fan of like a really thin, tapered eyeliner. I have a hard time with this type of eyeliner because before I know it, I will end up with the most dramatic eyeliner. I feel like I have a tendency to be kind of heavy-handed with my winged liner anyway, and if I have a small, tapered eyeliner brush, I can usually keep it in check, under control, but if I have a really large brush like this, before I know it, my eyeliner is like my entire eyelid. So for me, I just need to not purchase really large eyeliners. I know some people like these because they find the process to be really quick and easy when you do have a larger tip, a larger eyeliner tip, but for me, the smaller the better. The thinner, more tapered, the better. I have to say it's the same thing when it comes to eyebrow pencils as well. A lot of brow pencils, or a lot of brow brands do two types of brow pencils. They'll do like a really small, precise brow pencil, and then also a larger, almost triangular shaped brow pencil. And usually I end up loving the formula of the larger brow pencil, but I have a hard time using the shape of it because my natural brows are really sparse. So I can't typically get a natural look when I'm using such a large brow pencil because I need something a little more precise. For example, NYX has this Fill and Fluff pencil. This formula is so good. It's almost like a pomade pencil hybrid. It has a little more pigment to it. It has like a slight tackiness to it, so it locks your brows into place. But when I use this large triangular shape, I can fill in the majority of my brow. But when I'm doing like the tail or the front of it, it just ends up looking a little too blocky and a little too much. So nothing against the pencil. I love the formula. I just wish it came in the micro brow pencil size with that formula. But I don't know that the formula would lend itself very well to that shape. I feel like it almost has to be bigger. Essence also has one, Baby Got Brow. And the formula, again, so good, but it's just too big for my brows. So triangular brow pencils, unfortunately, just don't work for me, but usually the formulas are really good. The last thing I wanted to talk about is a very specific product. I don't know that a lot of brands have done something similar, but Flower Beauty did a powder spray, which definitely intrigued me because I love trying new powders and it sounded really interesting, but I just don't think powder is meant to be in a spray form. I remember watching so many reviews about that product. I tried it out myself. I reviewed it on my channel. I just felt like it was so hard to get an even application with that product because you would spray it all over your face, and in order to get like your entire face well, you'd have to spray it for such a long time, using up a good majority of the can. Also, you would get powder everywhere. It would get all over your hair, all over your clothes, all over your room, and that really just is not an ideal scenario. So I think I will stick with powder in an actual compact. That makes the most sense to me. Also, I feel like a lot of people don't want to over apply powder. It depends on your skin type and your preferences, but you kind of just want to either set your makeup into place or really apply powder in the areas where you get oily. For me, I usually do tend to over apply powder, but I do prefer something like this where I can get more of a controlled application rather than a spray where I ended up powdering my entire face, including like my eyes, my brows, everywhere. So powder in a spray can, it's interesting, but for me, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it'd be fun to do a video on like weird makeup products. Maybe I'll add that to my list because that was such a weird launch. But when brands do weird launches, I feel like it gets everyone talking about it. I just thought of another one. And I just thought of another one. So maybe I'll do a video on weird makeup launches. But anyway, that's everything I wanted to share with you guys in today's video. Let me know if you want to see a video on makeup packaging I love. I feel like that could be fun to do. Obviously, these are just like really small, petty things. It's not the end of the world. I obviously love all of these products enough to keep them in my collection. I enjoy them so much. And you can't really expect brands that are selling like $4 powders to have the same packaging as a brand selling like an $85 powder. But I just thought it'd be fun to talk about some makeup packaging pet peeves. So if you guys have any, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.